bread and breakfast, are we?
Hello, this is Mish from Downtime Distraction with an in-development review of a title called We Happy Few. So this is our 9th review in a series of in-development reviews. With these reviews, we still point out the positive and negative points, but look more at a future state and possible potential of a game, while still voicing our opinion on it in its current state to help guide you on the question to purchase now, in the future, or possibly neither. So hopefully these will be of value to everyone and also try and help the community and the developer proceed forward with the game. As always, being open and honest, I received this review copy of the game for free. So let's begin. So We Happy Few. It's a game I've been interested in for quite some time. I've seen the start sequence many times, but I think I was expecting something a little different. But that was just my interpretation. I never looked into it any more to look at any gameplay. I just saw that start sequence, many people looking at it, and it was always the same sequence. But anyway, so the game is set in 1960s England, in an alternate reality, or maybe even a parallel universe, whichever fits your interpretation. So there's been a sequence of events which has made the population strange. So they've turned to drugs to make themselves happy. So it's an action-adventure game. So it's set in a strange Orwellian-like world. Interesting enough, it also has procedurally generated environments. So this has been developed and published by Compulsion Games. Previous title from Compulsion Games was a title called Contrast, which was released to Steam in 2013 to a very positive response. Let's move on to the gameplay mechanics in its current state. So it's a first-person game. It's an adventure game. And as I mentioned, it has those procedurally generated levels. You also have an option there to turn off permadeath. As default, it's on. So as soon as you die, that's it, you have to start again from scratch. The game starts with a heavily scripted intro sequence when you're reading old newspapers and interacting with the objects in a room, and also speaking with other people. That's how I thought the whole game was going to be, but shortly after this intro, you get thrown out of that environment and into the, I guess, the negative side of the world, into the garden area, and that's where the procedurally generated component kicks in. So at that point, for me, the game really changed, and it almost turns into a kind of a Fallout open world survival type game, which is really not what I thought it was going to be. But that's not negative, but clearly my assumption from that intro scene that I've seen so many times was wrong. So with this new generated world, you've got NPCs to interact with, main quests to pick up, side quests to pick up. You've got a backpack with resources in it, so you can pick up crafting items, you can craft weapons, tools, medical supplies, you can pick up food, drink, and flora. You constantly need to stay on top of your ever-dwindling health as well. So your health, your hunger, your thirst, your sleep bars, they dwindle down very quickly, so it's very aggressive how they burn down. So you need to always stay on top of those and regenerate them. You can sneak around the world, or if you want, you can violently destroy your enemies with a very basic combat system and basic weapons. So let's talk about the future state of the game. So currently, we only have 3 out of the 5 islands available for us. So hopefully when it's finished, we'll have all 5 available. There'll be more encounters, better NPC behavior, there's better gameplay features, a proper final ending as well. So at the moment it's not quite there with that story, so more work on balance and polish. So it's very clear that the story isn't all there when you're playing the game, as I got a real disjointed feeling, and that was as well, as I said at the start, it's very heavily scripted, it's very nice, there's communication, and then all of a sudden you just get thrown into the world, and a lot of that stops. So hopefully they'll work on that. So we can expect that all to be fleshed out a lot more as well. So with more narrative scenes and cutscenes and getting the entire story. And hopefully as well we're going to get some more difficulties and game modes. So why did these developers put this game in early access? For me, I was surprised when I saw it in early access, because I thought the game looked so good. I keep thinking it's probably a AAA title, or there's probably a lot of money behind it, and it's not. It's a smaller indie team. But they've gone into early access for the same reason as everyone, just for that feedback and help as the game develops. So if you pick the game up, hit those forums with your ideas, suggestions, and complaints. So this is the point where I just give my suggestions of things I would like to see them work on in the future. So one thing, tone down on the survival aspects. So the food, the water, the sleep. It dissipates far too quickly. I almost felt like half the time I would leave my bunker, go to try and do some quests, and I would just have to to start the quest, then run back and get more food and have another sleep. So it was quite annoying when it burns down so quickly like that. Okay, next one. So I know this is procedurally generated. I've mentioned it a few times. And I know this might be tricky as well, but more variety with the buildings. So quite often you'd go down a street and the buildings would be very, very similar, and it just doesn't give a good vibe when you're going down in a situation like that. Too similar, and it looks procedurally generated to the point where everything's the same. But then you get into an area which would open out and it would look alright. But there's just a bit too much repetitive use of the same buildings. Okay, on to the next one. Same for the characters, the NPCs walking around. I know it is a bit of in a story there, it mentions why does everyone look the same, but they do. I mean, is that a design choice? I don't know, but for me, I kind of feel that they should have enlarged faces and heads. That's fine, but their features are all the same. It's in essence the same couple of men and women, just with different clothes. And once again, it's just a bit too repetitive. But if that's what they're going for, then obviously that's an artistic choice. More weapons to choose from, more weapons to craft. I got a few ones which started to get good the more I got into it, but I would like to see, maybe some projectile weapons in there as well. I didn't see anything like that. A way to organize your backpack would be another thing, which it's more of a, quality of life thing there. I mean, it's perfectly acceptable how it is. Just it would be much better if you could organise by food on this side, or maybe you split the backpack up or something. I don't know, something just to organise it a bit better. Getting those zones feeling more aligned. As I mentioned, waking up in the underground bunker from the title, not the title scene, but the starting sequence, it really felt disjointed. And obviously they're working on a story, so that's probably one thing they're going to work on. But I was just trying to think to myself, how could you get that bunker scene? So when you wake up in the bunker to start with, how could you get that working a bit better? And one option I thought would be to have someone else in there with you, someone that's already tried to escape. You have that one corpse in there, but it would be good to have maybe someone in there which is still alive and they can talk to you, and they still have that face, the kind of the white mask on, so you're not immediately out of that world. So they're the kind of the bridge between that old world and your new the garden world you're in. And probably the last one as well would be the NPC interaction in the procedurally generated areas. It just feels clunky and annoying. Everyone seems to hate you no matter what you do. That's in the garden area. In the happy area, it seems a lot better. But in the garden area, all these negative people just hate you no matter what you do. And it's just kind of annoying when it's like that. There doesn't seem to be anything you can do to resolve that. So hopefully they're going to work on that as well. Okay, so just a bit of a summary in the game in its current state. So currently, I'm really enjoying this game. Visually, it's unique. It runs really well on my machine. Clearly, that's subjective. Hopefully it runs well for whoever picks it up. The audio is top-notch. Music, voice acting, ambience, all really good. The gameplay is good. Interacting with the world around you is quite intuitive and interesting. The world is very interesting as well. Interesting characters. The combat is not so great. The combat to me feels very simple and very easy. Almost verging on kind of pointless. I kind of like the sneaking around and knocking people out. That's quite good. But the actual fist punching, and if you have a weapon, doesn't really seem very complicated. Just seems almost like an afterthought. So hopefully they'll work on that. So even running away as well. So even if you have a fight and you're like, oh, I'm gonna get overwhelmed, it has to be pretty bad odds for that to happen. But running away, it's just too easy. It would be good if they had some mechanism to kind of slow you down or capture you. And the NPC interaction can be frustrating. Even if they can't see you, and you try and steal something, they all come running at you. And that type of thing is really annoying, but all this is fixable within early access. Overall, I'm really excited for this title. As I said, I was a bit taken back as I didn't expect the intro to be so different than the main meat of the game, but I'm still enjoying it and very interested to see where this goes. So one other thing I'll mention as well, I was a little disappointed with the Steam reviews for this game. I think a lot of them were very harsh. People are mentioning, they can be harsh because of the price. This game still is in early access. You can always refund your money, But admittedly, I think the game is pretty expensive for an early access game. But still, I don't think you can give it a negative review for its current state. I guess there's a bigger conversation here that needs to happen about reviews of early access games. This is why I made the in development review, as I feel that it's not fair for a developer to put forward a game that they've stated is not complete and then expect people to review it in a state of completion. So yeah, it's really tough on these guys that do that, use the early access, because on one side it's really good for them because it'll give them extra money and they can keep going and get that feedback from the community. But on the other side of it, if the community is not happy with the game's state at the moment, they're gonna let them know, and also they're gonna put the negative thumb down in the reviews, which once again, in my opinion, it's pretty rough. But it's just, I mean, the whole early access thing is so tricky in itself as well, because obviously sometimes they don't finish the games. People have been burnt before, so I understand as well that why the community would be, I guess, getting annoyed with developers releasing games that aren't ready. So it's very tricky. It requires another video just on that topic alone. But I think one step towards fixing this would be change the review system on Steam for early access games and give maybe people an option there to say, just wait. Instead of just yes or no, say early access, you have the ability to click, wait for more updates. Something like that. Something on the review system there. It's not so harsh, because this game on the main page, it's so negative, and all the positive ones, I mean, positive outweigh the negative, but the negative ones are obviously thumbed up a bit more because, you know, the negative people are often more vocal. I mean, that all being said, admittedly, I'm saying we need to give them grace around these reviews and how we interpret their games in their early access state, but that doesn't mean that we don't continually expect them to release updates and fix the issues. That's the point for me of early access, is that if there's an issue, we voice the issue and they try and fix it as soon as possible. And the timing on that is going to differ from game to game and developer to developer by the size of the developers themselves. But yeah, I guess keeping on top of the developer and hounding them for updates, more content, fix the issues is really the point of early access. So let's do that with this one. So let's check back and see how this is going. Obviously, if you're going to continue to play it, because it does have a lot of replayability, obviously keep giving them that feedback, and hopefully they'll fix issues in the future. And I'll revisit this title as well, and I will endeavor to revisit all my early access and development review games and give you guys updates on the status and any big changes that's happened. And if there's no changes, obviously I'll voice my concerns around that as well. And for me, that's the point when you can start giving them developers thumb down when they're not updating their game, they're not listening to the community. That is the point of early access, and if they're not doing that, that is the thumbs down situation. But as I said, I think Steam needs to address how people review early access titles. But I might, as I said, I might do a video on that, a separate situation anyway. Yeah, so sorry about the bit of a rant there, but I guess that early access review system does really irk me. So anyway, with this game, as I said, good audio, really good audio, visually very cool, really cool style. Obviously it has big gaps in the storyline, big gaps in a lot of content, but I'm excited to see where it ends up. The price tag for me at the moment is far too expensive though. That's possibly another thing I think early access needs to take into consideration. In essence, you're beta testing, so that should be put in the price. And then when it's out of early access, charge what you think it's worth. But yeah, for me, at the current price, it's a bit too much. So maybe even half that price I would suggest would probably be about right. Before I just finish here, just one thing. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up below, but also if you could pop along to the Steam page of this title and thumb it up there. I'll link to my Steam review below. That just helps me get more visibility to spread this video around on the Steam page, so that would really help me out. Thanks for that. So yeah, subscribe if you like this content and you want more of it. Obviously, thumbs up if you liked the video, thumbs down if you didn't. Leave me some feedback below, and I'll see you next time. So this is Mesh, and I'm saying cheerio.